But I want to tell you a little bit about our first speaker, Miss Emra Smith. Emra is the CEO of the International School of Story. Emra is from South Africa. She knows what it's like to move to a new community and understand and know the different cultures here. She's a new resident of Effingham County. So in other words, how is she being greeted as a new business owner and also as a family? She's a TEDx speaker, author, trainer, and life coach, but most of all, she is a hope warrior. She brings hope and healing to the brokenhearted, stressed, and weary. She also opens doors for women, girls, and like-minded men through coaching and teaching, emotional, mental, physical health, and wellness. As CEO and founder of the International School of Story, Emra pours her life coaching and corporate training skills into all she serves and empowers them to step boldly forward. She facilitates unpacking stories for clarity, healing, and direction, finding peace from the past, and the answer to the question, well, what is next? See, this process works for all. She serves in corporations, city governments, universities, churches, business. She works with entrepreneurs in coaching and individual. The result is abounding with hope, clarity, passion, power, and action steps for the future. I'm proud to introduce you to Miss Emra Smith.
What a joy to be here, to be with all of you online, and just starting a process that we believe will just keep going, deepening, expanding, and widening. So I'm going to ask a few questions today, and at times I'm going to ask you to please answer. So if we'll move to the next slide, as we look at welcoming and blending international cultures in our business, our workplace, and our community. My first question is, do you believe, are we an international, multicultural, diverse community? Anyone believe that? There's some hands that have gone up. I want to quickly take us through some statistics. We need to understand who we are, which comes from who were we? Where did this county begin? What are our roots? Because if we don't understand a little of where we came from, it's hard to work in this positive way of who we are today and have a vision for who we are tomorrow. So these statistics come from the Census 2019, and some figures, as you'll see here. April 2010, we were only 52,255. 2019, 64,296, and I'm looking forward to what would our statistics be now in an ever-growing area. Let's break it down a little. At age and sex, persons under 5 years, 6.7, persons under 18, 26.4, persons 65 and over, 11.9, and female persons in our county, 50.4%. We'll look at our next set of numbers and statistics. Race and Hispanic origin. So how are we put together as of 2019? White alone, 81.9%. Black or African American, 14.3%. American Indian, Alaska Native, 0.4%. Asian, 1.1%. Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islanders, 0.1%. 2 or more races, 2.1%, Hispanic Latino, 4.9%, and white alone, not Hispanic Latino, 77.7%. So our population characteristics, veterans, from 2015 to 2019, 4.977%, foreign-born persons, right here, 3.2%. We have a few more numbers we're going to look at. Let's look at our education. High school graduates, 88.3%. Bachelor's degree or higher, 20%. People with disability under 65, 13.5%. And looking at an economy, because truly an economy is the future, right, of any county. Civilian labor force, people over 16, population 2015 to 2019, 61.5. Female over 16, 57.5. Men-owned firms, these are 2012. Wouldn't it be fun to know what it is today in 2021? Was 1,830 on. Woman-owned firms, 1,488. Minority, 539. Non-minority, 3,108. Veteran-owned, 708. And non-veteran-owned, 2,829. A good picture of who we are, and you can look at all of these under census.gov quick facts, and there's a ton more in different areas and different things. So I want to ask you, looking at those numbers, do you think we are a diverse community? Do you think we're diverse? Yes, good. Let's look on at the next. Are we, so do you think we are internationally diverse? Somewhat? Yes, somewhat. Let me share with you a little of our story. We were an internationally diverse community in a very intense way. So if you want to look at that real quick, I'm going to just go through it quickly and researching and studying. There's so much about who we actually were. Europeans first settled in the area in 1734, arriving from Germany. So those were people that fled for what they believed. They fought fiercely against slavery. There was slavery in South Carolina. Georgia had not accepted it yet. And as it started filtering in, our county fought against it in a fierce manner. Yet over time, they lost the battle and slavery became part of our area. And these slaves came from Europe and from the islands. Then the county was largely abandoned after the community, which was Ebenezer, those originals that came in, was left destroyed following British occupation during the Revolutionary War. And again after Sherman's march, when everything was just about burned down. After facing these hard times, most of the 19th century, the South Railroad came down, the southbound railroad. And in that, it came through our county in the late 1800s and gave us the kickstart to build and become what we are continuing to build and become. So the question is, looking at our roots and who we are now, are we once again becoming internationally diverse? What does it mean for us going forward? I want you to look for a minute at the Effingham County 2020 to 2040 Joint Comprehensive Plan. And this is a quote, and if you need where, it's right there on the screen. It says, Effingham County will be a place that people are excited to live, work, visit, invest, and raise a family. It will be a community that embraces spiritual and cultural diversity, encourages economic growth, promotes educational institutions, preserves our natural resources, protects its cultural and agricultural heritage. From its Salzburger beginnings to the location between our two beautiful rivers, Effingham County has the opportunity to share its unique historical and natural significance with future generations. So that is our vision. And let's skip to the next slide. One more quote from this document on community goals and policies for economic prosperity. 3 things. We want to promote the expansion of job opportunities, high quality industry, and diversification of the employment base to help the county grow beyond a bedroom community and to establish it as a place to do business. That's a very big vision. And I think critical that it is a statement of our community. because there are some little bedroom communities in our country that don't want it to change. But we are on the road to change. A second aspect of the goal is to pursue hospitality and entertainment-based businesses to encourage tourists and visitors to invest and stay in the county. And the third aspect, to implement and expand economic development plan to diversify the county economy and promote the recruitment of high-quality commercial and industrial business. So yes, we have a goal and we are growing and changing. So my second question to you is, next slide, in light of our planned future, as we move forward, does cultural dynamic perspective matter? It's clear we're growing, no questions. It's clear it is our goal to grow in all the ways stated. So let's look at this. Our stats are changing, our statistics are changing as we go along. We are becoming more diverse as we grow and sustain and enlarge our communities. To do that, you have to, number one, grow and enlarge yourself personally. If we as individuals don't grow and expand our thinking, a community can barely accomplish that. We are all the same in essence. We all have the need to live. We strive to enjoy our lives, take care of our family and loved ones. It doesn't matter how different we are. We're the same on that level. Once we understand through learning one another's ways, differences, we can thrive in business, in our workplace, and in the community. So in essence, if we don't understand how we're different, our potential for thriving, which means growth, is stunted. I want to tell you my own story a little bit. 26 years ago, we landed by airplane. 4 months later, our goods came by boat. And we spent 1.5 years in Maryland, 16 years in the Florida Keys, 8 years in Chatham County, and it's a year now here in Effingham County. And in this journey of being a stranger in a foreign land, and then a foreign state, and then a foreign county, it has been an adaptation along the way. When we were in Maryland, I had a phenomenal position in a huge company. And I remember the role that I had, and I saw the gaps in the company, and I realized soon the only way I can change this is to start training the staff to achieve my goal of expanding the work that I was given. And before I knew it, everyone got to know me. But there were very many moments that I would sit in that office and just look up and say, I have no idea what I'm doing. Why did I feel so uncomfortable? That was all because I was so different. Yes, we kind of spoke the same language, but I realized soon I spelled wrong. I spelled the British South African way, not the American way. So all my work was proofread to make sure that my spelling was right. We didn't have autocorrect on a cell phone or computer in those days. And I remember one day as I was penciling out some things, I yelled out to the top floor, does anybody have a rubber? Before I knew, the giggles went. And when I went down for lunch, everyone stared and laughed. And I had no idea. I went to the owner of the company and I said, what happened? She said, well, tell me. What did you say? I said, well, I asked for a rubber. I needed to rub out some of the things that I was working on. And she said, Emra, in this country, it's called an eraser. Well, I've since learned the other meaning of that word and promptly had to choose my word differently. That's one of many of my fun experiences, as being from somewhere else and not really entirely belonging. When we moved from Maryland to the Florida Keys and from the Florida Keys to the South, it was an incredible culture shock. Now, I'd lived in the Florida Keys for so long, and I remember someone saying to me, "Don't think this is what the United States is like." And I'm like, "Why not? It's part of the country." No, no, no. And we landed here, and to my joy, I felt at home for the first time in a very long time. And then I was like, why do I feel at home? And I realized that aspects of my culture were Southern. I also realized that aspects of who I was, as someone that was different, the green umbrella in a sea of same, had different values, had learned them along the way. And I thought back of my years in South Africa as a little girl in a hardworking family, protected, not having a clue of what happened 40 miles from my home. I only learned that after my third, fourth year living in this country, when I watched a movie called Amandla. And my heart broke and was crushed that happened in my homeland, right near where I grew up. How could I not have known? I always fought for everyone. As a young adult, we moved from Johannesburg to Durban, which was a very different community. By the time I had come to knowing the world and standing in my purpose that I know I was called to at the age of 9, there was no more apartheid. We had become a nation that was fighting fiercely to forgive, move forward, and build a new tomorrow. And so I didn't know, my girls growing up didn't know, but when I learned, I had to work through shame and guilt and pain for multi-generations. But coming through that, it also gave me the fight in my soul to stand up for all of us that are different. And I realized that even though we're all the same, we are different. So let's look at, what does this do? If we can go to the next slide. So understanding different perspectives, I have learned, builds strong loyalty in your workplace and community. As I poured who I became into wherever I was, I experienced those that would listen to my leadership, that would follow, that would grow, and we would all expand together because I took time to understand them. We both, those that are born and raised in this county, each of those in your organization or company that has come and planted from somebody somewhere else, we need to see each other. We need to grow from that understanding. I need to see you for who you are, and you also need to see me for who I am as an American, as someone who lives in this county, who has values, who I have come from. Win the newcomer over. Don't whine about them. I think it's a powerful skill that we all need to put into practice at home, in the community, at work, in your business. It's easy to whine when somebody aggravates you, whether it's because of their personality, their color, their country of origin, their disability, whether it's their age. Whatever it is, we can complain and whine about those millennials, those old people, those these and those. But if we can win them over by listening, this is how we build a booming, sustainable county, creating a place where others long to be. I believe that we can be a lighthouse to our entire nation. This county, because it's just small enough, because we can touch each other, I have found moving here with my nonprofit, my business, that people tend to collaborate versus compete. We still have enough touch with one another that we can truly build an incredible, sustainable place that people go, you want to work somewhere? You want to live somewhere? Go to Effingham County. And this that we're doing today, what we're going to hear from each of these speakers, let's hear, let's see, and let's become these people even more than we are, to belong together. And the last question I want to leave with you, we're not going to answer it, but as you listen today, ponder on it. Next slide. Is productivity influenced by creating this respectful, welcoming business, work, community, and environment? Thank you. Does anyone have questions, anything you'd like to add? I know some of our questions will be answered by our other speakers. Thank you.